Welcome back, everybody, to the Marching Arts Network podcast. I am Batman.
And I am the darkness.
And I am Lydia Dietz.
And we are the hosts of this podcast, so thank you for joining us on this Halloween edition. There's going to be some spooky music and lightning you're going to see here in a second. But welcome back. It's been a bit since we've all gotten together to do this, so we're going to try to keep it condensed today because we all have lives to tend to after this today, yes. So we're going to get there. But we're going to go ahead and there's been a lot of news about staff that's come up. I'm only going to highlight a couple things that I think are important because there's tons and tons of staff changes and people staying in the same places. So let me share my screen here. It's going to take a minute. And now the news. Okay, so I really wanted to point something out here that I thought was kind of interesting. This guy here, Jim Wunderlich, he's been at Blue Devils 2000 something, right, forever as the front ensemble coordinator. And now he's at Blue Stars. And I saw that, and he was there last year, right? If I'm not, he was at Blue Devils last year?
Wunderlich's a brass guy. He's not a percussion guy.
Yeah.
No, he is a percussion guy, actually. He's a pit guy.
Are you sure?
Yes, I taught with him in 2000.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, he writes brass though. I mean, he writes shows and stuff. So,
right.
Okay.
But he was primarily the front ensemble coordinator kind of guy. Then I looked on Blue Devils website. Oh gosh, of course we're all over the place here. And Richard Saucedo is there.
Yes. Yeah, you are correct that he's a mallet guy because he has his own series of mallets that he has produced.
Yes. He is a mallet. He's a really, and he's been arranging for like 30 years. I mean, he's been arranging a long time.
Yeah.
But I was trying to look at the percussion in like front ensemble, and this is the guy now, Brian Dinkle. Okay.
Brian Dinkle's been there forever. He worked with us at Kids Grove. I was certain he was the arranger of front ensemble. I think Wunderlich might have the front ensemble. I think Wunderlich might have worked with him, but Brian's been arranging their front ensemble for years.
Yeah, so I don't know what because they don't really disclose like what their 100% roles are. They just kind of put a title to it, like valve technician, stuff like that. But I just thought that was interesting, and we've had a lot of movement. Mandarins, they introduced some of their staff. We talked about the percussion staff the last time. It was POW's percussion staff that's at Mandarins now, right? Is it POW?
Pulse.
Or is it Pulse? Pulse. Sorry, Pulse. My apologies, Pulse. But
it should be noted they're still at Pulse as well.
Yes, they're still there. Yeah, absolutely. And my good friend James, he's also still there. He's a brass guy. He teaches the trumpets and stuff like that, and he's also the RCC band director. So, shout out to you, James.
But again, if I've said this a bunch of times, and I say this every time that I talk about the Blue Devils on any of my videos, look at that staff. Go back and look at the 2024 staff. Look at the 2023 staff and 2022 and so on and so forth. You don't see a lot of change there. They don't reinvent the wheel every year, and people wonder why the Blue Devils are perennial contenders. That's why. Yeah. They've got a formula. It works. They keep their staff. They've got world-class educators, and that's what attracts these students to the Blue Devils.
It's really hard to create a sense of stability if your staff is a revolving door, and you don't improve your educational philosophies if you're instituting a new philosophy every year because your staff changes.
It's like we're lurching from one crisis to the next almost.
Yeah, and I don't want to frame it as crisis, but it just
philosophy
philosophy. It creates a situation where, and also if it's hard as someone who's looking for a place to call a home, if you're looking at an organization where every year they're lurching around and making all these changes, it makes you not want to go there sometimes,
Yeah.
So that's one thing that our organization looked at, and said, we really want to create a place where we have people that want to stay every year, that we have long-term conversations, that we aren't talking next year, we're talking the next 5 years, we're talking the next forever, and so that's a real huge investment on the part from, like, again, top down, or from in your organization. It's a huge investment to say we want to build continuity, stability, long-term investment, and it's not easy to do in this activity.
No. It's like you look at like their show designers. Going back to Blue Devils, you look at their show designers. You can count the number of people that have been as far as like the big wigs, so to speak. You can count the number of those guys on one hand.
Mm-hmm.
You look at brass, for instance. You've had Wayne Downey, Jack Meehan, John Meehan, and now Chip Krotz. And that's going back to the late 70s. It's crazy when you think about that. How long has Scott Chandler been there? How long has TJ Doucette been there? How long is the percussion guys been there? The point is, Scott Johnson and a lot. That's why. And I suppose the other side of that coin as well is when we say, oh, well, this year's show is like last year's show and like the year before and the year before. Well, they have a style, and they've developed that style. So that's the other side of that coin as well, I suppose.
Well, and you are seeing that with the top tiers of drum corps now. I mean, it's going to take 20 years for there to be another 20-year spans of the Blue Devils, but you see that in Bluecoats, you see that at Boston, you see that, you're now seeing it at Phantom Regiment. We're starting to. We didn't do everything overnight. We didn't change every caption overnight and say, this is it for the next 10 years. We still had to make some tweaks over the years, but now we're, it's feeling very stable. But, you are seeing that with the top organizations. You see that with the investment the Crown made in their brass. Now they're fixing other things, I hope,
Yeah, they need to.
But it's, you make these investments in one thing and then you start to build in the other pieces, but it's not something that happens overnight, obviously. It's going to take 20 years for there to be another, like I said, 20-year Blue Devils staff.
And then the other side of that coin, though, going back to what I did say about crisis, though, competitive crisis, if you will, can lead to some pretty questionable decisions as well. I'd point you to, you don't have to comment on this one, Jen, but I'd point you to our friends in Rosemont. Okay. I look at the staff signings they have there, and on paper, you think, oh my gosh, these are some amazing names that they've got coming in the door there. But it's also a lot of cooks. Who's in charge? I'm really, really, regardless of whose names are on the door, I'm genuinely concerned about what's happening in Rosemont.
A lot of big names there. Yeah, let's see how they mix in together.
I don't think 11th place was a fluke last year. In fact, I think probably finals was a fluke, if I'm honest with you, going back and looking at it. But I hope I'm wrong, because the Cavaliers have some absolutely epic shows over the history of DCI.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, Cavaliers like Regiment. When was the last time Cavaliers dropped out of finals?
A long time.
Yeah. So there's a lot of conspiratorial talk. If you can't have a finals without a Regiment, can you have a finals without Cavaliers? It's kind of the same thing, it's
but
like
we almost had both. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, it just is kind of. I mean, I get. So I think that the thing with the Blue Devils, and the reason why they've had the longevity they've had, is because they stick to what they do best. They don't try to reinvent, like you said. They don't try to reinvent the wheel every year. They try to innovate. They have had some many years where they've innovated and done some crazy things. I'm going to take off this Batman thing. It's driving me nuts. Okay, so I had to change my filter, everybody. Sorry, it was driving me nuts. But anyway, so what I was saying about the Blue Devils is their longevity is, I think, just because they don't, like you guys said, they don't change the recipe. They just kind of add stuff to the recipe.
Yeah, they add spices here and there.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think, I mean, with all the other corps that have had such dramatic changes in the last few years, it's because they're trying to find the right recipe.
Yeah, if I may, real quick, I think when you look at corps like the Mandarins, you look at corps like the Blue Stars, those corps that are on that cusp of making that leap into the next echelon, if you will. You think Phantom. Phantom, you guys changed around a lot of staff until you settled on a staff that you knew was going to get you to where that you needed to be, and then you pretty much stabilized. You know, you look at the likes of Mandarins right now, bringing in a wholesale change in percussion. You know, that's a move that I would expect for a core in that 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th range. You know, but if that works, now the real key here then is that if that works, which it probably will, okay, is that if they then move up into that section of contenders. Boston is the same way. Boston did a lot of staff changes until they were perennial top 4 core, and then they locked it down. You know, and it's finding that magic sauce, if you will, and then putting a cap on that lid to keep getting out. So.
Yeah. I'm excited for Mandarin's percussion. I really am. And I'm not a percussion person at all, but I really hope that change dials in because I think that could add some real spiciness to the Mandarins. I'm really, really excited for that.
That's a spicy meatball.
See, I was actually quite surprised when I saw, I mean, look, grabbing Pulse's staff, you do it. If you know, unless you're like one of those top 1, 2, 3, 4 cores, you know, if Pulse's staff wants to come teach your drum corps drum line, you nab them every single damn time. But I didn't actually think that percussion was the weakness at Mandarins.
I just thought it was just nondescript. I don't think it's a weakness. See, the thing is with Mandarins, I don't think they have a weakness per se. I think that all of their levels are pretty solid. You know, they're on par with each other. I just thought that their percussion was the arranging was kind of forgettable. Like I love when you go into the brass that was in that Hosier show, the year before. You remember that. You know, you remember their guard in a couple of their different years. You know, you remember, but the percussion has been solid, just not doing anything. You know, and I think that this is going to be a real exciting step in the arrangement wise. You know, I think they had talented drummers. Don't take me the wrong way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I think though, for me, it's like what. Yeah, I mean, when I look at cores, you know, pretty much once I get past about 5th place, I can find, relatively speaking, mind you, I can find a glaring weakness in everybody. You know. This core, it's visual. This core, it's percussion. This core, whatever. And I didn't think that was the thing that jumped out at me about Mandarins. I
think they just took an opportunity. I think it's
for me. It was For me, I think they took an opportunity. For me, the glaring weakness in Mandarins was GE.
Yeah, this year I think it was more of show design in terms of pacing of events. I liked the opening statement, and then it kind of just the rest of the show was just kind of in between, and then when they ended it, they just ended the way they began, which was cool.
I liked the bookends.
I do like the bookends, and I'm a big fan of when I write. I usually like if I'm doing a thematic type show, I want to. If you're starting a story, you need to end the story, you know, and they did a great job of that. And it's nothing against them. I mean, their show was still great, but I think the year before had more energy. It had more like darkness to it, and it just had more of that grit. And this year was a completely opposite show where it was more laid back and more, you know, introspective kind of a thing. And I don't think they really sold the theme as well as they did the year before.
Well, the year before, that was lightning in a bottle. That was lightning in a bottle, the same way that Crossman 2019 was lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, Vanguard 2018. Vanguard 2018. You know, there's I've always said that the easy thing is taking the step up, right? The hardest thing is staying there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think because one thing that I've kind of noticed that a lot of cores are doing, and I'm going to try not to digress too much, is they use these audio samples that make no sense. They're just like in there for a second, and they keep repeating it over and over and over again, like we're going to get it. It's like, no, explain to me what your show. And honestly, in Mandarin's show, I think if they would have had audio explaining some parts of the story throughout the show, it would have made more sense to me than just hearing that one sound clip they kept playing over and over and over again.
Yeah, what was it with Vanguard? Tell him, or whatever it was.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Sure.
What?
Tell him
what? I don't understand what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, honestly, 2022 Blue Coats, man. The show was the voicing, and it told you the story throughout the show, and you kind of like saw they would talk about something, and then they do it on the field. Then they would interpret it on the field, and you don't have to use voicings throughout. But I mean, if your show is going to be literal, then you need to be literal. Mm-hmm. If your show is ambiguous, make it ambiguous.
Yeah.
But anyway, the problem with that is that when you're doing the explaining, this is what we're going to do, and then doing it, it's almost like drum corps like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, you have to do it in a way that's storytelling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the danger in there, though. Is what I'm saying.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, mm-hmm. and that's as a show designer, like, you know, because when I designed for high schools, I worked for a really good high school. We did a lot of really good productions, but we would always have to ride that line of, okay, are we going to be literal, or are we going to be ambiguous? Or are we going to be interpretive? Which way do we want to go? And as soon as you go down that literal road, you have to keep going down that literal road all the way through. Otherwise, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
But okay.
So before we crack on with other stuff, Jen, you've been on holiday. You've been on vacation. Sorry, holiday is what we say here.
I know.
Been on vacation, haven't you? Where'd you go?
Yes. We went to Gatlinburg, to the Smoky Mountains, for 9 days.
All right.
9 days, a really long trip.
Right.
We
decided. We've decided, Justin, that without your permission, we're just going to share a picture. So, Jen, you get to show us one picture of your vacation. Go on.
I do, but it's in the chat. I don't know how to get there.
Yeah, I can pull it up. If you guys want to put it in the chat, I can pull it up. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, so we did 9 days there. And the best part about this photo is this was at the Ben Morton Overlook going from Newfound Gap to Cherokee, North Carolina. So this was a road that was closed right after Helene, but it has since reopened. So we went up there, and this is a beautiful shot of, no, this wasn't from the Ben Morton Overlook. This was Chimney Tops. Fine, we'll share it.
Here we go. How's that?
So here we are. Yeah, so this is Chimney Tops on Newfound Gap.
Hey, nice
Road.
T-shirt.
Yeah, right? So clearly, hey, where'd we go? That's Kanan's picture.
Now we're in Scotland.
Oh, now we're in Scotland.
Go back there.
Go back.
I'll go back. I thought it was another picture. See, it looks just Scotland looks just like the Smoky Mountains.
So yeah, Smoky Mountains. I'm representing my drum corps. You know. So those are my kids and my husband, and we, like I said, spent 9 days in the Smokies, and just had a great time. So it was a lot of hiking, a lot of waterfalls, a lot of touristy things, but it is hard to get around. Everything takes about an hour and a half to do because it's the most visited national park in the country. So, but it was fun.
So let's look at some more pictures of that national park. Oh
wait. Here's without the trees.
All right. Well, I've been on as they say here, I've been on holiday or vacation as well. So my wife and I, we went and did the NC 500, which is listed as one of the 10 world's greatest road trips. So it's a big circle around the top of Scotland, starting in Inverness and ending in Inverness, and the whole route is 516 miles. We did actually about 650 because we took a detour and went to the Isle of Skye as well. The whole place was nothing short of magical. It was basically deserted. So this picture that we're looking at here is from what can only be described as the gnarliest road I've ever driven on. And that is the Bealach na Ba, I believe is how it's pronounced in Gaelic. And the road starts at if you look at where the water is in that picture, that's a place called Applecross. And this is taken from about halfway up. So in the space of about 5 kilometers, it climbs 2,000 feet. And yes, that's a single track road. Yes, those are switchbacks. Yes, we were driving a motorhome, and it was gnarly. But man, you got to the top, it was just breathtaking. And that's the thing about the top. That's the thing about the top end of Scotland. It is just every time you crest a hill or come around a corner, it's like there's another breathtaking view. And you get to the point where it's like, this one doesn't have a waterfall in it. Bleh. You know?
I know, right? We saw so many bears. That was so exciting. I love bears. Bears are cute. Yeah, we saw like every time we came around a corner, there was like a bear in a river. It was just like, oh, stop.
So here's the best bit about the Highlands of Scotland, though, right? And I don't have a picture in here, so Justin, in the magic of editing, you can find a picture of and put in a picture of a Highland cow. Okay.
Oh, I love those.
And the thing about everywhere you go, it's pictures of Highland cows and this thing. I swear to God, on the entire 12 days that we were up there, we saw one freaking Highland cow. Turns out it's total bullshit. There isn't actually any Highland cows up there. There was one farmer that had 4 Highland cows in a field next to the road to keep the tourists happy. The damn things don't exist. It was like they're about as common as the Loch Ness Monster, which, by the way, we did go by Loch Ness as well. So.
Yeah, we had bears that would come up by our cabin every day and check all the cars in the different cabins. So lots of video of bears opening doors and getting in cars because people are stupid and don't lock their cars.
And then
one final thing, not to lock your door.
I know, right?
One final thing I'd like to say, Justin, if you want to edit this out, you can, or if you want to leave it in, you can leave it in. I believe you've lost one of your cats recently, so in all genuineness, I wanted to offer you my condolences. So.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we lost our. He's been on many of these podcasts, actually.
Oh, no, that kitty cat?
One of them, yeah, one of them.
Tell us about it. How old was he? Tell us about him.
He was 10. He had just turned 10 in August. He was one of those cats that just begged for everything. He was like a dog. Beg for your food. He'd grab your hand and try to take your food from you and just like, look, come on, give me some. Give me some. He was a good boy. He was getting that crotchety. He's in the crotchety stage of cathood, where they just leave me alone. Yeah, but yeah, he's our boy Jasper. So thank you. Yeah, he was.
Rest in peace, Jasper, and genuinely my condolences.
Yeah, he was a good boy. He was a good boy. All right, so we're going to crack on, as you say.
Yes.
Let's talk about Japanese drum corps.
This is our 5th attempt to get this to you. This is the Yokohama Scouts.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, it's the Drum Corps Japan Championships this weekend, something that is way super high on my bucket list.
My brother taught in Japan for a year.
Oh, shut up. Wow, what a nice sound.
All right, we're going to be watching the Drum Corps Bride. I wanted to do Immortal Cavaliers, but it's a really dark show.
I love this show, though.
Soul stealing, killing people, it's all good. All Drum Corps fun.
That is my style of show. I do love shows like that, but this one, when you don't think like Halloween,
shows unless somebody has to die.
Somebody has to die. Yeah. Or sell their soul, or something.
Should we bin this off and watch Cabbies instead?
No,
we're gonna watch this show. This is a really good show. It's so much fun.
And again, we said earlier in the pod, though, we did say lightning in a bottle.
Performing their 2016 program, Drum Corps Bride.
Everything worked in the show.
Proud to present the Academy.
Just so good.
Mm-hmm. This was kind of a time where they really tried to stay with this kind of thematic approach in subsequent years, and they just couldn't quite get back to this.
Well, didn't the next year they do the bunny show?
Yeah.
Which I'll talk about that at the end of this, by the way.
had the volume cranked. Sorry if you guys can't hear it.
No, it's good.
I'm 6,000 miles away, so everything's about 3 seconds behind for me anyway.
Really good development in this show, too.
Yeah.
Really good thematic development.
And really good visual performance as well. Look at the performance from performer to performer. There's very little to no deviation in style.
Yeah. Listen to how solid the horn line is.
I just like they've just fully established the story right there. You know, it's like there's just no question to it. Ooh, that's a big jump.
With this ring, I pledge my soul. Any darkness will be banished, only light to behold. Your cup will always be full, your heart a gift from above.
Well, it was only 8 years ago, so that's not that long ago.
10?
That's true. We're the old ones.
10?
Is it 10? Yeah, it is. No.
2016.
Is it 60? I thought it was
9.
Yep.
One thing I do remember from this show is they have a really solid low brass section.
See if there's any way I can turn this thing up. It is just not loud enough for my... I think I have it cranked all the way for this video. I'm going to have to do some audio editing.
They had a really solid like male presence in their color gardens here. And I always question when you have a guard that isn't that balanced, before how you recruit those members in for this concept without giving away what the concept is ahead of time.
I like how they use the pews, right? That's what it's called, pews.
The pews,
but then they separate out into individual platforms. So now they're tombstones.
I love the tombstones. I remember how the tombstones had all the different names on them.
Yeah, well, they were quite clever about it as well. They used that as a fundraising thing as well. You could actually buy a tombstone and have your name in the show. And there's a few extra encores in there as well.
Yeah, right?
Bridgman are in there, VK's in there, Skyrider's in there as well.
So good. Look how clean the intervals and stuff are, man. Just...
They marched brilliantly.
Nice baritones, man. Holy crap.
Oh, score-wise,
I love the percussion with the bones, the xylophone bones.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a good camera shot of it. Maybe this.
Yeah, it's coming up here.
There.
Visual perspective as well, with the black uniforms, the white keys, and they have that thing on their head. That was visual from the top of the stadium.
Yeah.
Really cool drill too.
I like as well how they went from a Christian cross into a pagan cross there briefly.
Finally, we're gonna get a good flash of color.
But I think this is one of those shows that doesn't really need the color.
Well, their purple jackets and the male guard members are vibrant enough to carry some color in the show. But I do like the contrast to the red.
Oh,
And that's blood red.
Yeah.
Which it does help. And then if you notice, they put a little bit of color on the bottom so you can see it when it spins.
Yeah.
Because if it was just red, you wouldn't really be able to see the spinning motion.
Exactly.
Really good staging. I mean, like, they use those tune tones to their advantage, and then nice guard little catch there with the accent.
I love that partnering.
Oh, cool drill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. That one.
Wow, some running.
Something they did there musically that I really liked as well is how they interspersed the funeral march in with the bridal march as well. Just a very brief thing. I just thought it was a nice, tasty little musical thing.
Yeah.
And before this guy starts playing this solo, can I just say this is one of the sweetest flugelhorn tones I've ever heard.
Forgot about this song.
Look at all the hand motions that the core proper is doing there. It's like
I know.
all together.
I love all that. I just wish they weren't smiling. Like,
Yeah.
it feels very plastic. It's the only thing. Like, I wish they was like just pleasant, you know. That's nice.
Such a nice tone.
That's nice.
Good job, dude.
Sweet. Yeah.
Well, yeah, so he did the Blew the Kiss, I think it was the one. I didn't see it, but
Yeah,
remember
Blew
that
the
was
Kiss.
This is the Year of the Wink.
Is this
Yes.
the same? No. Is this the same year as the Wink?
Yeah, this is the Year of the Wink.
Everybody's in that camera's face.
Really good sound, man. I'm just really impressed. Like the level.
Really good drum corps.
I think didn't they get 10th place?
12th.
12th?
They got 12th. They got robbed.
Yeah.
They got royally
Massively.
robbed.
They got robbed so badly.
They should have easily been like 10th place.
What I love about this show is you don't have to think about it. You can just sit there and enjoy it. You don't have to think existentially or anything like that. It's just a drum corps show telling a story, and it's simple to follow.
I'm going to be corrected.
Excellently.
They came in 11th.
11th, okay.
Thread the needle.
He's still robbed.
But who got 12th that year? Take a guess. I really like the placement of those pews in the middle of the field. It's very
Cavaliers?
visual.
Oh. The Phantom?
No, it was Boston.
Yeah, it's Boston.
The chaotic show.
Chaotic, yeah, whatever that was.
Yeah, it was also the year. This was the year of faces because that was the year of the crazy
Crazy
keyboard
pit player.
I love it when you see
Ladies
the
and
faces.
gentlemen,
I didn't realize they
of
ended
drum
with
performers.
Unchained Melody.
Richardson,
Yeah.
the Academy.
When you see the faces of these kids and they know what they've done, I think that's just awesome.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it's... we're going to have to pull up the scores here. 'Cause
I have the scores.
gotta
I have the scores right in front of me. So
all right, let's put them up on the screen. Give me
okay,
1 second.
I'm just gonna.
It's going to take me a
So
minute to get to
yeah, I'll
this.
chat about this a little bit while you're doing that.
Sorry, while scores are going up, let me just say something real quick as well. So I talked about the way that they moved visually, and I said I'd talk about it afterwards. So we had a guy that worked with us. He was actually a member of the Kids Grove Scouts, but he did also march, I think 3 years, I think it was, that basically brought the Academy visual program back to us at Kids Grove Scouts as far as like their basics program. And when I saw the stuff that they were doing there, it's no surprise to me at all that they moved the way that they did, because they did basics very, very well. And again, I keep going back to, I've said it a gazillion times, if you can do the basics well, everything else then falls in after that. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
Right,
I thought I just thought it was a great looking drum corps, and I thought they marched really, really well.
Their color guard was really effective too. This was an overall really well produced production. Yeah. And this was we all hoped like that the Academy was going to come in and fill the gap that was left by Bridgman VK, where they put on these not lighthearted, but family friendly, easily crowd understandable productions that brought a little, levity to what has
And they went away from that.
What had become the very serious art of drum corps, and they tried that for a couple of years. After that, I do remember the bunny year, and then they had another year where they were wearing the guard was wearing pink and vinyl. And
Can I talk about the bunny before? Can I talk about the bunny year real quick? So
Okay.
so when talking about the bunny year, as we've often called it, Jen, you mentioned about there was the thought that this was going to be, that Academy was going to be filling that space that was left by the likes of Bridgman and VK of shows that you don't really have to think about, not necessarily funny and all that stuff, but lighthearted,
accessible shows. Yeah.
Exactly. So I look at the bunny year though, and I would actually take that a step further and say that there was an opportunity that was presented to themselves with that bunny show. They could have gone full VK. And you know what? I think they could have pulled it off as well. I've always looked at the bunny show and thought swing and a miss.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss, and there was an opportunity for them to create, because for me, if you ask me about the Academy, what do I think of when I think of the Academy? I think of a corps that's generally solid. I have no idea what they do. I have no idea kind of what their style is, because they don't really have one. They didn't have any sort of a niche or anything like that. And on the one hand, you could say it's good not to have a niche, but on the other hand, if you're a corps trying to establish bona fides, then I think you kind of need it, if you know what I mean. So, and when I look at the Academy since this show, I don't think that there's not a single Academy show that I look at since Drum Corps Bride that I think, oh, that's a bad drum corps. I don't think they've ever put out a bad drum corps on the field.
No.
But there's always been just a certain key ingredient missing. And to me, it's almost always in the design element of the show.
Yeah.
It's not the performers, it's the design. You know, either we're doing shows that are maybe a bit above us, or we're doing shows that just don't have any general effectiveness at all. They're just boring, you know, and it, and again, when we go back to talking about, like we were talking about at the beginning of the pod, talking about Blue Devils, why they attract the students that they attract, and you know, again, a lot of it is what you're putting on the field as well. It's no secret why corps like Academy get kids in for 1 or 2 years, and then they bugger off to Santa Clara, Sacramento, or Concord. So.
All right, let's take a look at scores, because I know you only have a few more minutes. Yeah. So I just kind of wanted to look at it, and you can see Academy got 10th place in GE, except for this one caption here. So they got 10th overall in GE, so that I agree with totally. Mm-hmm. Visual proficiency, look at this. Crossman was 7th place in this caption here, but Academy got 12th. That I don't agree with at all. Visually, they were really good. I mean, we probably need to watch, you know, Blue Stars and Crossman and Boston, but I think their visual was just really good, like in terms of feet and how they moved and their intervals and their shape design and stuff, like their form design and stuff like that. I thought it was amazing. But Crossman, I mean, look at their score. They were like 8th place in that.
Yeah.
And
no.
Boston beat them. I don't agree to that, but
this was Boston's Don Quixote show. This was Carolina Crown's Relentless show. We all know what happened after 2016.
Yeah.
Where, you know, they poached off half of
they swapped
staff,
guards,
the other guard staff, and then Boston came out with Wicked Games in 2017. And it's
Jen, you're being polite. They didn't just swap guard staffs. They
swiped guards. Their guard.
They just took their whole damn color guard.
Thing. Yeah.
Your color guard. We'll have that, thank you.
We'll take that, members and staff. So,
all right. So
yeah,
and I think that was also about when they poached the cadets brass staff as well.
Yeah. Ooh,
you gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. I mean, I probably need to watch Crossman this year, and nothing against Crossman. If you guys are watching, it's nothing against you. I just thought that they marched and played really beautifully and well, but I need to compare it to the other corps that were in that realm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what Crossman did that year. So Crossman Continuum. In 2016 Continuum. Original music by Andrew Markworth. I listening to a show I don't remember.
Yeah, I'd have to do a big reminder there.
Yeah, so I'm gonna watch them now because I kind of want to see. And
yeah,
but tell us your guys' thoughts in the comments below, and also if there's anything you guys would like us to watch, react to, because we are doing videos in between. I know we haven't done as many as we had hoped because life is getting in the way right now.
Fall. Whew.
I'm sorry I got shingles. All right.
I know. But I am actually going to be continuing my 2020, my series, and I'm going to be doing 2021 top 3. Not cool. Top 3, but like I'm going to pick 3 shows from 2021, which was the pandemic shows, which I loved those shows. I thought they should just kept drum corps like that.
I've
rejigged the wheel, by the way.
Oh yeah,
so
you did say something about that.
I've reinvented the wheel. Now what I've done with the wheel is I've reduced the number of corps that were on it, because otherwise the Blue Devils were on the wheel 21 times, which seemed a little bit excessive. So what I've done is I put every DCI champion on the wheel. So what I've done is I've actually set myself up for massive failure here. So what I've done is I've actually put my least favorite shows, which I'm not going to tell you which ones are my least favorite shows, but shows that I have a hard time saying nice stuff about, they're all on the wheel. As well as a bunch of WGI color guard, because I don't know shit about color guard. So it ought to be interesting to see my reaction to it. And then I can't wait to see your comments, Jen, to tell me how wrong I was. There's some WGI percussion on there, and there's also a fair bit of European and Japanese drum corps on there as well. So
and I asked in my last video, I said, anybody who wants to give me a Winter Guard show to react to, please do, because my knowledge of Winter Guard shows are like, so please, by all means, let's give me a big laundry list of Winter Guard shows to react to, and I'll do it. So
all right, well, tell us what you guys thought. Please make sure you subscribe, and if you have not visited our YouTube page, please go to the YouTube page. Help support our channel. You can become a member. You can also somewhere they can't see you now because the video's playing of the merch and everything. So yeah, we have a merch store. We have some brand new merch that I introduced a while back. So please make sure you pick something up like you like, something you like, and then that way you can help support this channel. So we would appreciate that. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for a great podcast again. I got a lot of editing to do, I'm sure, tomorrow. All
right.
So I can't wait for that. But
what, you mean you don't drop everything and do it right now?
No.
Exactly. Come on.
No, I got a full day planned, literally from morning to night. So
I'm running out to a soccer game. So
yeah. But we'll see you guys on the next one.
No matter who you're doing it with, no matter where you're doing it, no matter how you're doing it, or no matter when you're doing it, just when you're doing it, make sure that you do it in a spooky manner, and of course that you march on.